Hi there. This video will not be very long at all. I'm going to kind of do it in pretty quick steps. This is how to do phone grips. I got these from the Amazon return store that I don't think exists anymore, but they still exist on Amazon, so I'll post the link to these. They came with a few of the grips themselves. I've got more on order because I have been blowing through these. I've made like almost 50 lately. And I'm really excited to add these to my craft booth. And then at the end, I'll show you about my packaging here. But to get started, you're going to need some of these grip blanks. Doesn't matter what color they are. I'm trying to do like dark when I have a darker base and lighter when I have a lighter base. That's not necessarily a big deal, but it's up to you, whatever you want to do. Whenever you get these, make sure that these are all clipped in, because I have had a few that I had to toss this because it was defective or warped or something, which happens with mass production. It is what it is. Luckily, they're not super expensive. So what I'm going to do is pour into the mold about halfway. It doesn't have to be completely full, because by the time we add get the foam grip blank and then a little of epoxy to kind of seal it in there, it's going to be plenty thick. I have a couple here that I was experimenting with that raindrop effect. That's drops of epoxy, usually UV resin, but I used regular epoxy and let it cure. And then a dark color shift mica powder, and then a dark glitter behind it. So let's mix some epoxy, pour them into these cavities, and then I'll show you the next step. I've got 20 milliliters mixed up. I'm going to do two different colors right now. I am absolutely in love with graffiti. It's just kind of all my favorite colors of glitter mixed into one. I have several favorites, not gonna lie. But this is one that Fran still carries because I just bought this one. The 20 milliliters should be enough to pour 4, if I'm remembering correctly. I don't really ever measure, but I'm pretty sure that that will be enough for that. So I'm going to do graffiti on one batch and paint chips, aka man glitter, in the other. So I'm just going to mix this up and let it sit off to the side and kind of degas. Oh, okay. For some reason, I've been calling it letting it burp lately. That is not the technical term, but I'm not mad about it. Before I do the paint chips, some of these are kind of on the big side. So what I've been doing is kind of pouring them and then crunching it before I put it in the cup, just to give it a little bit more fine pieces so that there's not so much gap in between. I will say on the paint chip type glitter, or paint chips, you can get them at Home Depot and Lowe's. It's the same stuff, I believe, that you would use on a shop floor. This does settle really intensely. One of the examples I was using earlier, you can kind of see it. It doesn't want to focus. You get the gist of it. It basically just flattens out right there, which is all fine and dandy because really that doesn't matter. So we'll set this off and let this one kind of burp a little. There's a couple different ways that we can attach the backs, the grip backs, and we'll get to that in a minute. I'll come back out while these are still kind of sticky to do that particular part. But I'm going to just kind of zap them with my, this is 90% alcohol. I don't have the 99%. For this one, I'm going to do one geode and one round. Let's do it over. You can see how much I've already used this. Some of these cavities are already getting dull. So I'm just going to pour kind of in the middle and let it spread out like that. That way I have less bubbles at the end, I feel like. I bought a pressure chamber, a vacuum chamber not too long ago, and I like it, but it's kind of a pain right now. Not really doing anything that super duper needs it. Okay, I'm gonna let that settle for a bit, and then I'm gonna come over here, do this guy. You can see it's already kind of separated here even. So what I've been having to do is kind of scoop it out like that, more or less. That way it doesn't end up one completely clear and the other one super paint chippy. I have this on this for this part of the process because I have a shelf off to the side that I've made sure is level, and I'll put it on there to cure. There we go. You can kind of see it's not completely full, but it's about halfway. And I'll zap that with more alcohol in just a minute. These guys roughly halfway. I still have a little bit in here, so I'm gonna go ahead and throw it in the next cavity, just because why not? By the time you add glitter, it kind of increases the volume, so that's kind of nice. It's so pretty. I love this glitter. Filled there. We're going to set this off to the side. Once these have set up for a bit, I'm going to come back out and I'm going to put a grip on there while it's still really, really sticky. That's one of the ways you can do it. These have been sitting here for about an hour, almost 5 minutes shy of that actually. And it's set up enough that I don't have to worry about this sinking in. I'll show you what it's looking like here. Just kind of barely touching it there. You can kind of see how kind of gooey. Should be pretty perfect. You could let it sit just a hair longer, but I wouldn't go much longer than that. So when it's still wet and I'm applying or adding these, I just kind of stick it in there, kind of twirl it a little, try and work out that air bubble just a bit. Kind of see there. Now these are for sure cured. I did these last night. So the other way to do it, especially like right now, I'm building up a stockpile of these guys. I don't know what I should call these. Are they pucks? I mean, I could call them pogs. That'd be kind of fun. The other alternative is E6000 or any other really strong craft glue. I just do a nice little chunk like that, and then kind of swirl it around, get nice and get good pressure on there so that it kind of really spreads that out, but I want to keep that up. I like having that as a handle. And then I just center it the best I can. I have had a couple end up a little off-centered, but I'm not super worried about it. And while I was looking it up to add the link to this to the video, there's another one that has like a hexagon, a diamond. I'm pretty sure I'm going to end up getting those molds too. If these sell well at my shows, I'll probably do that too. But now that I have that on there, we'll let that needs to dry, that needs to cure. So I'm going to leave this be until tomorrow. And I only have one more grip. The rest of them are in customs right now, so I'm just gonna kind of let it go. But I do want to take a peek at this. This is the raindrop technique. That's pretty cool. I did this other one. This is through with Smaug, whatever the guy's name is on Lord of the Rings, from Feather Bear. It's a super fine. And then this one is using Cosmic from France. They're so pretty. This one is a purple shift. Man, it's kind of cool. Maybe not so great for the people that are weirded out by holes, like one of my coworkers, Melissa. But for the rest of us, it looks like cool raindrops. So that was not nearly as set up as I thought it was. And so it sunk. And it sunk a little unevenly. Not the end of the world, but it'll probably still end up in my imperfect stack. And I'll just mark it down. I'll just mark it as imperfect and put some sort of discount. I've got one glued here, and then I've got this one glued here. So I'm going to show you the two other ways you can do it. This tends to be a little easier doing it while it's still in the cavity, only because it kind of makes it easy to clean up and kind of slide it in there. But the disadvantage is you're tying up your cavities for longer than you probably want. And like I said earlier, I'm building up a collection of these so that I can really go to town whenever my supply comes in a couple more days. So I've got a little bit of epoxy mixed up here, and I'm going to use that right there. It is a very much recently overused tool. I've tried to peel off the excess epoxy. It just doesn't want to, and I'm about to tear the tip there, so I'm not gonna fight it. So what I'll do is just kind of dab it in there. I apologize in advance if I hit the camera a bunch of times. I'm not used to doing it at this angle, but it's kind of necessary for this particular part. So I'm just going to very carefully go around it like that, all the way around. Sometimes I get too big of a lump on there and then it runs down the side. I got a little carried away the other day. I was talking and working during a live stream and I almost made a big old mess. But if you catch it early, you can just wipe it off. No biggie. Okay, we're gonna do that all the way around on here, making sure to go up and over this ledge here so it really locks it in place. For this style, same thing, but you've got kind of a border there. It's a little easier to do a whole bunch of blobs at one time. And then kind of rub them around, smooth it out when you get more in there. Just like that, all the way around. You don't necessarily have to fill the rest of the cavity. You can. It's really not beneficial to go above that little ledge right there anyways. Anything higher than that part right there, it's just going to flex and kind of have the epoxy break apart from what you're working on. So not really worth it at that particular expense. So all the way around, either way you decide to do it, all the way around, watching your edges. Once it's all cured, you can pop it out of the mold, or if you didn't have it in the mold, you're ready to go. You're ready to do whatever type of packaging you want to do. As I mentioned at the beginning, this is just 3x3 self-sealing cello bags that I got off of Amazon. It was literally a penny a piece. So worth it. This cardstock back here, I bought 12x12 paper from Hobby Lobby, and I can go 4 across and 4 down, so 16 per page. So the 25 sheets that I bought is going to last me for eternity. And I don't plan on packaging my keychains like this. I just did it for that one special need that lady had. So for the back, you could drop in a business card. That would get really expensive. This is a stamp that I had made on Vistaprint. It's like 20 bucks. I use it for my earrings also. It's so perfect. And that's it. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to leave it in the comments. Sorry I have been missing for so long. And like I said, I'll put all the links to everything that I can get my hands on in the video description. Stay cool and safe out there, and have a good one.